Okay, if you're watching this video, that means that you did not show all of your work at the very least. And at the worst, you might have gotten the wrong answer. So I want you to make sure that you write every single step down so that I can give you a 100 on your corrections. And then, even more important, moving forward, you continue to do this every single time. So we draw our river here and we're looking just at this side that has the variable. And I want to know, how can I get a 0 here? Because I want C to be by itself. And right now I have a -7. And so in order to get 0, I need to add 7. Remember, we are always doing the opposite of what's in the equation. Whatever I do on this side, I have to also do on this side. So your step right now should look exactly like this. The bar is down the middle. You have a +7 on the left, and you have a +7 on the right. Okay? All right, so I bring down my C, but here, the nice thing is these cancel out. I don't recommend writing 0 because we're trying to get C by itself. Like, why muck that all up? Just get rid of it, right? -7 +7 are gone. So now I have C by itself, which is exactly what I wanted. I have an equal sign in the middle, and now I do the math. So -4 plus a +7, the signs are different, so I would subtract them. 7 minus 4 is 3, and it's going to keep the sign of the bigger number. In this case, 7 is positive, and so your answer is positive. We come to the check, and I set this up for you, so you really had no excuse not to get your check correct. You're now going to plug 3 in for C. So instead of the parentheses, or instead of the C, inside the parentheses, you're going to write 3. If you left it like this, you did not get credit because this is not proving anything. You have to do the work. And I think I wrote do the math, do this on lots of y'all's papers. I need to see this done. Otherwise, you're not going to catch your mistakes. So we're going to leave, change, opposite. +3 and a -7, the signs are different. So I subtract, I get a 4. It's going to keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's negative. So I have a -4. And now I come down here, I bring my equals down, and then I hope that that's what I have on this side. And luckily, when I bring that down, it is. So I have now proven that my solution is correct because I have this true statement. -4 is equal to -4. Coming to B, we're going to draw our river. And if it's helpful to you, I think it's helpful to me sometimes, put a little dot in here. Anytime you see a coefficient like -4 and a variable like D with nothing in between them, it's sometimes a good idea to go ahead and squeeze that little multiplication dot in there to remind you this is multiplication. Now, I want to get rid of multiplication, right? I want to get a coefficient of 1. So how do I get 1? Well, I do the opposite of multiplication, which is division. And what do I divide by? Well, if I divide by 4, that's not going to help because a -4 divided by a +4 is -1. We don't want a negative anymore. We want a coefficient of just plain old 1. So obviously I need to divide by -4. Whenever I do on the left side, I come over and I write the exact same thing. I divide by -4. So please stop, look at your paper, make sure that every single step is written. Okay, so now I do the math. Well, a -4 divided by -4 basically cancel out. They give you 1. And 1D is the same thing as just plain old D. Okay? That's supposed to be a D. Equals comes down here, and now I do the work. All right, so the first number gets inside the house, the last number gets stuck outside, and I know it's a negative, but I'm going to just remember to put a negative at the end. If you want to put a negative here, you can. It really doesn't matter. All right, so 4 goes into 12 3 times. And so I get 0.3 as my answer. Now, Let me just show you what happens if you had forgotten the negative. Okay, so let's just think temporarily that this is what you think your answer is. Okay, so we come over here to our check, we replace the D with parentheses, and for right now, I think it's zero point 0.3. Everything else is going to come down, so the negative and the 4 come down, and the equals comes down, and the 1.2 comes down. All right, so now I do the math. Well, a negative 4 times a zero point 0.3, well, when I multiply, I get 12 decimal. I get 1.2, but a negative times a positive is a negative. And so when I come down here and bring down this side, I realize, uh-oh, I have made a mistake somewhere because I did not get a true statement like I did up here. So I need to go back and figure out where I went wrong. And obviously, the positive divided by negative, this should have been a negative. So now when you go to your check, this is a negative. And now when you actually do the math, a negative times a negative, I'm going to erase this, is a positive, and so that frowny face becomes a smiley face.